Otherwise, malungil chits mergomero rin sa Real Belaw Eagle Paradise FM 87.9. Tigelo mesrigidra video streaming. Malungil tutaw lekor kami, wingil tutaw lekor ka president ka markabinet raw. Bedu liter program rigid ma. Di ba ko ay sar belulu ase turat ang arter el ama. O banggeda tangakal president Rablur Belaw, His Excellency Surang Lip Jr., Madirakal Honorable Che Udu Songbaw Senior, Vice President the Minister of Justice, ma Minister Silangani at Charles ay Obiang, tangakal Charles Yar Obiang, Minister MPII, ma tangakal Gayleb Udu Jr., Minister of Finance, ma tangakal Ngilay Blas Matul, Minister HRCTD, ma tangakal Stephen Victor, Minister Agriculture, Fisheries and Environment, matangkal Dr. Dale Chengin, Minister of Education, matangkal Ghafaru Erbalaw, Minister Health and Human Services, edi klobengge Miss Landy Sangkotaro ni Chief of Staff President. El altuta Pastor Chamberlain Ginsano bengge el altutal mamskidang lungu. Makmaling tra pastor mamlulu mo muli. Knabes ani ada news lo bengge ani Leila ni reclaim Rambes Mr. Rambes Soleil ma dire klangwak la sola dabra TMC kida bangeda ada news el tutaw bedo la program rigid bon tira baston bol biskidang lungu el tutaw
Dedi kiwa batse Jalpas ngara book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 sama 7 ay kamal umara lo sekidro ko lam tembe kalpas di tilmutul mo amoy lo maklat kirgit tingera Dios. Verse 6 of Philippians 4 ang kumulo say, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Let your request be made known to God, and the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Lulu. Edaw Dios ang ngaraya nga dagigita tigingem lamuoy werubak ulit terkarubak may kaltigingem liberanan di tirkal nga legem siungem al tirangaray ka drual el masyora blumam mar adre bela rubak ulit terkarubak mong posabem ngabut elo sisubira al sila ay direng at tir malom sereng al ngaraba berubak mabosabir ngat press conference bosabir rubak mo o gutmok laigel giril motmok el girel abulur belaw mar adre bela rubak kloa sebakreng marawreng al sela bulur elang ya kumra rubak al wasika mililt etirgay gidel misiungem el moraigal lol saal el tirang arngir elang lekamlem dengay umratil wasen sabeir el ngaray kalgingal al sela white time del time relang mga tak la mga tigay garmam el mo yang alak karngiruba imre nga sulem ra president ma vice president matirkal minister serubak matirkal rogul laurior el monsieur gaul ngaray kal dru alelo pantri relang po sabe merubak lo makal tanga tatir bastrir abud maalalak kereng maposabiil rubak lungil omdaso maposabiil gutmok la aigel kawa sa mabol gutmok relal sils posabiil abalu el momedengay el wasegi ngaral sel ti al pandemic di kyo bengge merubak el ngaral sel ya bibiliab lakatak wase sel borngi yaring ra selak langar gamam ndi am yigmam lotab damam ringi Isaiah 40 malblakatak rawan mat wan mura tril mulo ase agi bom si sebrangaw gobang kamamal mo sohi sebra alsel agi bom si sebra omwal gobang kamamal mo sohi sebrangi rubak makumral wase gobang gela president ma vice president matikal minister seringi tirkal rogul ngaray kal dru al rakabalmentre lang open trire rubak obang kamamar adabela rogoy el mo sohi sebra alsel hindi kumral wase kamot tabata mamaringi rubak makmal mering asule mel mutul malotes trile gorgaw pomobon trile al bolo mu ramiting tir obo sabire rubak el gutmok la gelongot mok es el bol mrek yang klembol motang sa maklap kal le gorgaw rogoy kamal masaul yang lungo amal gemo do sile gorgaw ngalang klelang al gem Jesus semlo tong tiak langaren ira karusel giram Amen. Amen.
Amin. Almasaula oda mergidra Pastor Ginchano. El altame presidente bom pesquida update kau mar minister sergau ma ulul el bernia kadir adra media el bolo gergau.
Sulang las kotrule malmenga sulam pastor gen chano panglungu ma abada sel blom sharing al tutau kida sodra mutial teal le kotrule gad mosus rai bedul maraklai marubul belau bilung biraklai mar sil belau president Hokons Paulus senate marugul senators speaker Anastasio marugul delegates Chief Justice ngiray galaw marugol justices, governors, speakers, lators, marbek other belaw. Ngara blurang ayangan mo hotcharigi. Kida mangara kira blur belal al sil siduk nori ate lilo reng sergi. Kida ko trule kada malmal aswar. Persel klol sebak reng madak ngara blu. Mal المواعيد الواسع كده الجيرة المريض مسؤولة لروباق الديوس يعني ملمول ملوم اللي يرجيد ومن قل تنات رابلوات فايس بريزيدنت غمرة الواسع كده المينستير سنغارتيان أما أربك لا دات ماجي ملاك كرتيجرو قول أدر بلاو مايجل سيبك رينغرتير ما رينغ الغرير الالسيل سي سوادن مو mo regel kuro babel seber lol nga seur tir regel ngari mangari program bol announce ria minister HRTCD delang di ruera da borse maigel ukpolo ay sirgi da minister health and social otruleng we cannot say it enough the gira del mereng asulir our frontliners el hotel mereng lo يمرين مسؤولة لا NEC ما أربك الأجنسيز government لما تماجي والدروق أدرين مرا hospital رون مسيورتي ل كون مرا الواسي تيال برا درا كوفيد نامرا بالوضع أمرا لولتوي ريجار روغول مغلوريو ناقو مرا الواسي أول أوتيلا بالتيجرين وترول أول أوتيلا بالتيجرين راديوس المرجيد مار أدر بيلال تيرا روغول مغل مرو لانغر عليه temloma vaccine ngel toktang na American ngartiang wase ali within the last lerul something namo email tela al adam ma orus seya o tia baltiga dengar bekra adam rul senarele sel dora lagi da blur bela de kada kotrul de kada wase ngla ngira long mask diga da mangalera adal bekla adal long mask bebi rablu afana كده عمال دي ملتوي رسال بالتيجر دينغر جدل بتيجر مودرا كلول هذا نغرابلاي تيجر مودرا نغلجت يخدو لو ماسكر جد اللي قلت رقرة تيجي قبل من تلول جد الواسي تغاين سير قلت ما أقمران من غسول هذا بيلاول مرور سيل غرالي نذير قلوا مصر واسيا السان أما أبكلون ديبل كذا نامو practice social distancing مرور غرا outside هي كده apart ترى غرالي هذا روغوي مقمران غسول هذا بيلاول دي كده قلوا مصر reporter ablulada kada duk namo number 1 kambes kada number 1 orang most cases per 100,000 per day oise mengira del mongu segi del ore me mesa se sengara mal imiri al sum kada mesa kada sengral girel soba kanu adra ablur bela leng sel momes sel il dois mai diser adar mlangwa covid del mere al sils edol tirak rangel wild del covid ngel qotel tilab del covid mong ngiral erul basen trablur belam la mosmer الماث ارتيا with 2000 almost 2000 positive cases kadam sadar oqwala ela alsil sense da ngatel wasen dirga ka imo ngira da menga sulla dio sigirel se dire lenga rawul kadam maral wasen part tergidel magaro ul muru langar aler kadam la vaccinate tem la boost e ortirak legal guidelines rigid hospital ela alsils going highest the number of cases atara ulang highest the number of cases kida per capita eka the most tested nation rablula sedrak mulwaisi lega damral other hospital kida amring loroleng no other place in the world idea sen mora ba center other el test vai doisir ngar belaw Actimas kami example. Git sel the test ra 1,000 al adra talsils. Ngelon mal percent tra population git. Adungun marablu ramriger urwasi al sel talsils eta test ra 18 million people, and we know they're gonna test 18 million people in one day. So just as a comparison, magada gadam dengeng wasa bibira time mo mga lalain mring la sils mring la ser ada so garantir men soril test kado ngit terser koloreng ngit terser wasa rather hospital of course the more I get got probable sil trial organize and manage a crowd the more I get probable set mo mara ngit tra koloreng until my patients at while we get through this di kida waigel blada dung alak trigal el salit magidar other berat magaloro gamay nga sula blue ramdegel malmol mga artiang not only giving us the vaccines mar adang arteloro ya tara awula kadamuru legal testing skid cell siasing no say maybe ngal wod ngegidar kora to kasarel al high risk med basa cell extra kar lang ngarigirgit gamay nga sula adam regel kamla mogi gaigel kar gaigel baby rablu e oduro kalmer belalong na seorgit mun se adel imudong batoka adel let's say the test positive gadam stri gaigel prevention mun awul al sil se nsedro se tedit terul af ngar hospital angar se because of covid understand ko lore trigger rest amlor sen ngar yang odor tir dita to covid mang I think gira dal kotrule kadam renga sulera adar tiramring lora rabat sil se renga sulera adar belau mang emrenga sulera tigel partners rigidal malmol malong no sergidal tigidal kida albangaring diragal الصادل الكونتينيو المغلير رابك الأضراب لولو سي تكونتينيو يجل دورول رابك السيلز دين ديريغل جيريد المغلير رابك الأضراب لولو سي تي كده أبأسل التريتال جيريد الما أكسبترين كوفيد هذه مرغولو بنجير مبارت رقلنا رجيد إذا ما لنغل تغتلين سيل كوفيد الغراب لور بلار إلى التام أو مسندر هذا ديمو مرين رابتردير مالوبن ديمو mogol omor gorir tibur ngaria net sertir mal abebirtir amebi temomudo nding di sesek lebsei emla momre mang seigida asiasing el dome seringi emdengel wase tiang aria ulo bangalel godolingi tersel wase understanding adra blu era dolmol mal magal mesa ulo bangalel tiang di sedegal stobra aurel girel gat magil Maradara Ministry of Health, mabekal ka adara government amotmak, yung sera Ministry of Health kut mukliser al ngar alel. Dirigal uk Ministry gidra human resources, mendirigal omes ayel ngal sang sira adara blul tir orior. Uk ngara private sector al ngar yang angal sang sir, madirigal ngara government makmom mititirtigal ministry sa tumay uk momeskida update el girelay. So dia waik kotrule kuma aulal masa minister wel balau nabal bol share lo bangger bon mergel bo o minister matur egida kotrule ruya bol se edik ayaman mor adra blu gida waram lo tribal meudre el tutau le gida amle mnaria special press conference gida lo ko bangela blu lat ma gambe semno sem ngarse Bernadette tuned in from home, blood recording through via Zoom. Digadam lo tewal inauguration ng first digital resident travelur belaw. Ang telang garuba ka Tim Draper, ga tara famous Maral Isel, investor walu ulala tol treta aurora sel dungur tial tora digital technology nga awala lagi del urior mo kada kadamaran mereka sulel gotel af mongwa a digital resident card dringid el tegi del PS program rigid waigel mildung na se press conference ngari edel dak tela el af emla stat el tual len interested entum senda email ertilmo el al silsra ewaklok etirgegi del como others 10,000 a invitation sent out ma application process and more tirigay del el ave marcel list trigel ato nga sa lista within 72 hours, ang giril respond. At sumunod ka respond, tuk marabaro maraliste, mauliulo. Mang sige da, at triatal, hindi ko karawal, to karawal shooting tigil first come, first serve. Magda, mnesadruk announcer sige da, PSL, التال المربلا مقد ادي مورنس يسر راوري ولا ترغلا مينستر اوف فاينانس ان ارتلس المشيرا بيبل جيرتش سولا مينستر هيلث غبا
Sulang presidente malungit tutan mara beklaat. Tutan mara adra media mar adalo best orang setiang. Igel daily update sa malmol. Beren dia ka sal mo kumakara again numbers hindi sige dia all time ang wadang arsel wal fourth week lang since ra domes ra search will start. Makora ulung ulit kasi hopefully by the end of this week or early next week, kita na mo start tulomes sa ID sila guys most stable and then eventually kuk maral morio. Sige da kuk kora o singe del al time la kadomes sa kuk trend ra igal kakarusel belu to kuni belu ra marigel igal kakarusel state awal kora followers sige de los sil trend ngara dori days nga peak emro ko mage ko gil kuk maral merio so kadamal mol melomes sa numbers kadamal ngelo se mal to kara adal dir kamadakta mela direct tara challenge moving forward alweek ma next week maral mo to kara adal recover hindi tadir ka wal gora stigmatized baby tira dir ka madak terti lomda sa set tadir ka buku yuyu ngani baby employers demand lo se ko temongwa negative test result me OT ng sige da direct kul challenge sige al time kada malasam المروبة بريدة لاجيس إندي أسيسيل تايم إن جيرد الجوك موقعين يصير سيجيد الواسي هذا سيلف لا لينغلاقر سيجيد التروي الكلوب سي سينس رابول باسيتيف إمال جيغري أتى الليل الدير غانيا فيروس ريني لوليو ريني كورا ديم لسوغل دولي سيل بلول ديغ دا منشن ريني لغال أبديت دين جوك ديريك الترا أسيبو كرينغر أدرا بلو الجوك هذا الملا ريكفر دا تليب المرينغر تيرا موت الوال ريانتجريت المرا ورك بليس ما society direct kalsada lo maklat kara adal girel say o sisil time el alsil sa kada kuk mga tmok ra testing ma COVID clinic ra East Community Health Center na mamari kairay ma West ma North and then akluko kada kuk mara South mga damari nga sulit tirigel al state government sa maigel kakaros el partners sa nga sergid el mga tmok kartel urior egi tamal mon ma testing ra ospital ma tegi del COVID clinic التريور قالوا جيم الملاك ترجل سيمتوماتيك ما الأدل جيرين متست من هذا دي يولني تركلو رينج الأدرا بلو يجي تيال ويجل دي لونga president تقدمال نقل تنgat compare المرة بيبي رابلو الملامو سويس برا أوسيسيو تلاتايل يقدر ديرك سلب أقل من الموتر الآن ديرك السؤال الغرا إيسي أو capacity را كوفيد اللي مالدي كوفيد cases را hospital ang ra 50 sa edel lomkar up to 50 el al time ra igal kakarusel facility ra al sel hospital igi tam tingil sa igal lamomre la rule sunday average el adal men yuing either ang covid au ul malubet tan yuing el gira langot al rak tandit positive ang ra 9 budula 10 of course sabe kal sil sa nganyar taying markuk mail 1 or 2 mesoism we're still well below or sel pled the simbail girel was kada mo overwhelm ra capacity ra hospital hindi sa dal makataklisel was tungura tokora bed capacity kada mal ngariyo sel tulum dasurngi o sisil time at direct kal ngaringar atra nurse martoktang tira amlo positive emlaw recover matirigay gid ang agi mo spare tir el rotate sel covid ward material make sure ndakal exposed المرة دي أقصى جدا الريسك exposure المرة أذلو ومقارنين ملؤبة mortil themselves so we're slowly getting there مقدر ديال نيترا كلورين را أترا بلو مسا جدا القوكلة من لو سيدا سبعة اللي بيجي تيان عندي we're cautiously optimistic الواسع الألوية ما next week and سيدا start تلو مسا cases el goteng stabilize emor ko mo start el maral merio so lang
Dr. Hancock said, main we could expect as much as 4% other test positive in hospital. Adunga 4% ratal because that's the average per week. Gadam sa ngar awal af. Agirin ngar hospital because of COVID. Sedri ka kadesa. I see. Hindi ka prepare del giran. That's a good thing. Because in the last 2 weeks, and that's what the hospital has been doing, preparing. Mung prepare the ward, they prepare the motoring was saying C4 ngara kalaw gym, the separator adam de cultura emergency room. We prepare the testing. Those are all efforts and make sure we can continue to provide a service and morar adrabalu. Kadirigal so also say a surgery sa adri kaman mon hospital. Sumada giran marabot kaya we can do it. Adalom elements sa elmo. The elective surgeries if we can delay, we can delay. Mang hospital yes, in Claudion Maral, arada sometimes at mo or scatter. Your rotation, we need to rotate the people, and that's what we're working on, and make sure that rest ministries will contribute to help rotate the especially administrative staff. The ngara a front panel grit the take care so we're definitely working on that. Continue to help our hospital so say hi and give them some support. Sulang. Minister Putul.
Malwaise malungin tuta president ma members ra media mar other bela rogui. So ke kampes mo kora mul kora o ice trigel nganya klol tokol kora arau deng rablu girela other government mo ngara tele ra bolsi era covid. Mak mamur segi ra ora borsel kuk es program ra private sector. Mang mal bilduk regal rules sergi dal wases ko ka ora government ngwa COVID nganya positive test terkau NCPM ngwa sick leave terkau wasisul time also ko mong kubanggela adal smer mensemel mo ngwa sick leave terkau ong ede also ko mo ba adal ngal kang smell dire kang arbitar kau indire kal CPM level sick leave al ngasong la sick leave terkau NCPM mora annual leave edire kal ngani ati LM ko mong kana exhaust leave terkau NCPM mo ma half rigel bom accumulate al sela tarrak mang sedak pul wasar other government tamal selbak dire kal ngani flexibility ra ministers la kora create ra system mang dia kal matro bang idil service ra government mangani ra other for example a division of employment services former labor ang ani ra other ngara al sel rotate make sure and I get all services will provide ada kal matro state governments Mr. Cambesa diregal giblem mitra last week the governors tergen ngania flexibility tier maklisi il diregal allow or adrir to order ablirir maluk to take a single 5 days as kum ngania I get the self isolation requirement till impose a Ministry of Health amno mede Mr. President tak mukadam karat tikal adra ko private sector Maldado labang kala President, Minister of Finance, at ilun sub-edel extend the program, el bottom kodor ngil mong loss of income due to COVID relief program. Itel program extension ra PREP, man sub-edel as kum makaadal ng ra private sector. Because of COVID, kum no relief, malub temle tadilur gat mong close akong balik at mingil mo other gul mo me reopen. Enganya one-time relief, sa MLM avail ringi lomo rakluguk ratuta ra 8:30 kamera civic center sel civic hall sel ngara balngel Miriam ra amo arwa Miriam bersigi the lobbies mar baby ra adra prep ra PBA amol ngoseur kumul ngania mal ke kadebel application bom fill out ringi aktimo all tegel gora requirements ngiremel kasingil ngania tablo check stable lo otit mo kaulurior Osisil time ngania ko ra sel kapir sa gidal positive test results rakaw magikadebel babier employer gat mukam lo da kamorior tigidal time ling itagida ul misel fill out sa gidal form en sawan motabdia erul dar takluk el mon ngosir gaur sa gidal yim klabsay up to 3 klabsay القام لو ذاك موريور من سل دومس التل الرجال human resource gid en wala sel mung silba akla ku ngara ngara government ngara state trigel ku ngara private sector agigide president agora adaitail program sa edal mes el ngani agora geren sa edal mo ko makan smart
Sulang ya minister. Aktimo direka duli lo ase kita amil sadriya last week lo ase a school igirel mo open ramande. Agumura lo ase se adir ko sangyat. Amoria last meeting ra Friday lo matritigal experts mat kaider yid. Ndi ngira del plan lo ase to open a school. Manung ilanu ko la total meng se lo ase nimla kada close a school hato obey mason soral. I say al summa skura ngaya la sel open, let's reopen. Education ang alagya da girel top priority gida magada. Maybe kita moment say on a case by case basis. But the best at all tegal principal my educators and reopen schools and get kids back in school. Leng important ra development ra ang alagya. Mang dinung ila ba open na wala gira gira mangel and then yeah. Come on.
Malungin to tayo, President, tamar bekal ministers. Kamlo makatatal dia kata kaswes maswat mal masa sama demiu. Right now the two questions tinmutal kora minister patula sel tal one time relief program aldi kablem announcing kami tim local no tigal taril kind requirements that they have to present. Rosa?
Ande. Girem mera kote ka in person na mera civic center maka fill out ra application form mo require lola batul checks tabarkaw lo otip mo ka ulu amla oy ngaram lelas tel morior nganya note ra pabilingela employer kat mo kam lo da kam morior direct gegi data itta ka dospe ya lo bangel sel al positive test results ra hospital gegi da ya gel boklo total ligid le babil bola balme gora proof mo ka am lo da kam morior sa gidal time.
The follow-up per se, yang moraro ko employees who meet this requirement, mora other belaw, maadang other belaw, alu hindi mora other belaw.
Kaya mal di mora other belaw.
Point.
Solar silger.
Kami minister tiya follow-up mo tiya question ay lani. Tirigel ko smell nga quarantine yakat sabihin akong ano ko naman siya ko in person. Ngani option tirigel yakat sabihin tirigel kiril nga na quarantine. El magara bol sabihin ko take advantage of the program.
Selebol mereka el ngay kaya del babi el mens el fill out ring. Agi dire mo retail online. We're working on that now. We'll work virtually as well. And so you'll fill out the form. Then we have to verify mo kameral in fact mo da kamorior. Egel babil nga ma active ay sa mga niya other giblam rings ak mutazirak sa gigi del positive forms. Mong agim hal mo ngil verify trick mo kameral smear.
Ira minister tumutul dira kasi ngaro si siulan na question. Ngani ako indication waseng tel ahmal telal ava kora raita ko ba number 10 more tagi the loss of income COVID relief program.
Agi audio lobangkel Ministry of Finance emle estimate ra up to tal telal adal as edal accommodated tiya. Hindi ko ngit malaka di kul mo la kamorior.
So kami dito nga example Maria tal telal may mandar teladre belang private sector. Instead of 10% of the population are not infected. So that's already 200 150 people that so. But say it. And they gotta expect everybody to get infected. So I think we're
Yes, at yang ati question ng mga minister erbalaw And I know it's probably on one of those situation report, and then I mentioned na present kasi in terms of number of people tested, we have the highest in terms of percentage. Mang kung sa lasing atela ang total other belaw test, and they will include the malatest because they have to leave the island.
So, unfortunately, la ka breakdown ra in the past 4 weeks. Hindi cumulatively since the start the test ra April ra 2020. Yung laanga ra lui etela le test ta blada conduct. And within the last 4 weeks, I would say laanga ra 4,000 na blada ru. Yeah. And I include repeated test. So for example, adal may tested positive, el mutal may test ra day 5, maluman day 10 included or say the number. Hindi ko tungo na test positivity rate. Of course, itiaryo ra testing center, tirigel symptomatic, ablo nga ra 40% in the last 2 weeks. Sel community testing, loruring na PCC, ablo nga ra 12 or 13% tira positive. And the overall, ang laang ra, al time laang ra 29 or 30% ako ra running number lang. Test positivity rate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Question na nga kamo ra Vice President, sel program ra anti-human trafficking, sel tier 2 ranking blur bela ble downgrade ringin mo tier 2 watts. Kami mo as ko siya nga raw ul mo kada low downgrade da ting rigid. Nga raw response ra government girel sa igid.
Malungit tuta President, adra media, cabinet members. Malam sara malungil question, kita sel rating kita mle ngara tier 2 mle drop mura tier 2 watch list. Mandi ngara tier 2 watch list ngani ate al drep tan mura tier 3. Se report el tilo dawa se ngara mura tier 2 watch list leng dimla ka mal prosecution sa role al girela gagidar human trafficking cases direkal dimla the really a focus on victim services tara direkal mildung alkong ngurawala ka the punish them harshly the dim ititir matam pe fine trial defendant convicted of it direkal jail time ari malmari nga suli la minister mutul ma minister ay tarole nagimlot makalorior so before abodorur take the report tol balme I will email it to you before adrali take the report el activities for 2021 sel tilob del tier 2 watch list nga raigel activities ra 2020 year 2020 agil mal agil when we started working agi maluos el mora ambassador US ambassador Hennessy Island lo getting lo sega kom ngilal information regir and we actually met with him in person manglo sa amlo kora ado gire la wase ngarang mlo takal rawreyo magioram lo maduol madengel kung ngaral raala sa ideology ngi ngaray gel gire del Malaysia. So we are able to compile a report again. Lesson dari sir January 31, 2022, which was Monday. Etiasel ko kway response rabalur belaw almorsel trafficking in persons assessment questions. Lamlari nga questions at sender may lagi daw ko respond dari gidan mo mategi dia arangalela response dari gidan sender mo US Ambassador Hennessy Island.
So sel tilay gidel babiere kautadi ko naman siya kasi sel report assessment ra Marigela State Department masawat ra update atula prosecutions ngara sel tilal masawat rigel taygi.
Okay. Melang yang lo nga ogiwa Office Attorney General al kumle report yung ay sulwa sem laringa gagi dali 3 cases al waldir kamle made al in required additional information. Mang mlo sa el ko may gagidal information mang kung dasang amle file ra 1 already and then mo file ay gagidal 2 more cases this year 2022. Also the work report try gagid. Tira kalmla pato ka victim services lo sa edal ko ra Malaysia logiw tegi some memorandum of understanding that only local government agencies and mo providers tegi the victim support services. Tira ka malso kalo ay salwasang logiw tegi anti-human trafficking working group al nga nga minister matuol ma minister ay taro ma members regel ministry tir yung mula mo sabi edal streamline the process among labor trafficking also kung mang mata nga klisi either labor officials al mo nga inspect workplace malubang nga issue that come before them tira ko omesing ilwa setial amo subiira kagidale labor trafficking and directly o duro clean more sel anti-human trafficking unit al nga la Ministry of Justice or Division of Transnational Crime. Let me sel was matiang all tagel batokal improvements sa blada katmok. First of all sel executive order kagid Mr. President amlesa nang reorganize ra Ministry of Justice. Ikot makli sa igidil anti-human trafficking unit within the Division of Transnational Crime. Tagidil ko ka then after that, collaboration again with Ministry of sila nga niya Minister at matuol mong masabi edal mom sisi awreor girela o singela human trafficking issues both labor trafficking gale sex trafficking.
Di ela sa del assessment akira kam la oiwi sel nga ra website ra State Department sel mahal sel highlight ring sel wase yang complicity o siya nga rangyer kidal girel
tamal mo nga sule lang kagidal special prosecutor April Cripps lang nga gel tool guys involve government official so seldo ko ra ka complicity aldo magim lomit ko Ambassador Hennessy Island awal ko ra kumulwa segi da either we turn a blind eye al ube ko ra adiya ka tal take a strong step or strong action al girira officials alulsis bra al sila the human trafficking. May ka public information man sa pegal kumong ma SP amlo sa elo tungir al sila report sel guys ringel former speaker or president ra Angar State Legislature Mr. Leon Gulibert masel guys ra former governor of Ngarar Mr. Ben Iskawa. May gagidegel wal tool cases al mo otil was indiak. Government tabela maral take a strong stand against human trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, and we actually bring them to prosecution. The mal hopeful was a sabiel ko improve standing rigide either the mutual tier 2 or maybe tier 1. I'll say the best ranking I'll say that morning.
Sulang Vice President Ariel mo na question lang mora Minister of Finance Minister Udo yung if I'm not mistaken financial report first quarter kadamle projected collect $11 million revenue and di kadamle collect 1%. Is that right or
our collections, if depending on which report you looked at, would have shown a lower amount of GRT collections, and it's because our treasury decided to recognize the collections for the previous year. So what we collected in cash this quarter was represented in the previous quarter, so it's not shown in our quarter, and that might be the report that you're looking at. We have reissued a report that shows the actual cash collections in the month so that we can compare resources to expenditures. So it's an accounting question that we are dealing with, something that the auditors normally handle, but we had incorporated into the report for our own purposes. So we've asked the treasurer to go back to reporting the other way so it doesn't cause confusion. Nonetheless, we expect revenues will be a little lower than what we expected this year. And I notice you're focusing on revenues, but we also are focusing on expenditures, and you'll see that our expenditure rate is also being controlled. So we are mindful of the issues, and we're constantly monitoring and making sure that we have enough resources to fund the budget. We're also looking at other opportunities. As the president mentioned, we just had the ceremony for the first digital resident today. Also mentioned that we had 300,000 people registered on the reservation list. The actual conversion rate will depend on whether or not the people go through with their application. 10,000 every 3 days. So it might be over the course of 2 months, we will see exactly how many people apply. But I think the press conference today that we had, the ceremony, will also help market this program. If you were able to see it, and I know you did, you can see that there are many other opportunities that could be attached to this program, and that would also support tourism, for instance, and foreign investment to our country. So we are being very active in pursuing opportunities, and this is a good example of one that we were able to launch this week. So we do have others that we're working on, and we hope that that will make up for some of the losses that will happen not only in the tourism sector because of the delay in receiving tourists, the lockdown of other countries being the primary reason why we're unable to get flights, as well as some weakness that we're expecting in the stock market in the United States that is showing itself already. So the latest number I got for the trust fund, the balance stood at 312 million. And we expect that there might be additional fluctuation over the course of the year, but that's to be expected. We're not going to withdraw all of our money this year. It'll just affect the investment value, and when the market goes back up, we can see some recovery in the numbers. So yes, that's a long answer to your question, but that's a situation we're looking at now.
Ya kan sulang. Osisun morsel toera digital residency. And I've been asked this question. Di ako nang answer ng bakas ka mul. The question that comes to me was say, can we start issuing digital IDs, residency IDs, without the full regulation in place for us to implement this program?
Yes, we incorporated a lot of the thinking behind the regulations into the operating agreement. That's a requirement for our vendor, our partner to follow. Our regulations that we are working on now, and we have an initial draft already prepared, will incorporate a lot of those requirements. So you can say that we have the legislation, we have the operating agreement, the regulations will sit in between those two. So we're already ahead of the game in having issued the contract, but the regulations will support that contract and maybe expand on it a little bit for that vendor and for other products that we decide to launch under this program.
Can that operating agreement be made available for review?
We can give you the gist of what's in the agreement. It's basically a standard contract on the requirements that these people have to provide to us, like having a bank account and having it being audited by us. Those kind of protections are in the standard contract. I will check on whether or not we want to release all of it in its existing form, in case there's any issues that our partner may have with the information being released. But generally, like I said, the issues that we want to cover in the regulations are represented in the contract. So let me get back to you on that question, Kambes.
Something that I think we should be aware of is in this space, whether it's digital ID, we have competition. The world is the competition. So there's certain things we don't want to share with the rest of the world because we don't want them to get our idea and then copy it, right? So that's why I think questions and maybe you can review, but we don't want it posted on Facebook. This is what the agreement is, right? But there's nothing that I don't think we can't share, we could talk about, but yeah.
Mara either Mr. Biang malu Mr. Victor ang di mo tigil adal mo omral ko amlam mo lang rida letela at saka aklok krisel mo airport amla tribal mo asel yato di tribal rida at saka lola odoy mo durok mayang ko ra di siya di ka qualify sa prostitution mo wala bakal mo airport altemela COVID mayan.
Sudah agar to my understanding wala dirika ka mga self process alwasing alsum kumar omral wala ba ngigil pela chicks kadimon airport nga ngigil officer ng arsel
Nga rin niya,
rura permit
several other, kung sa tatsika klokli rogui, takadil concentrate tangi kalto ka, kung may sa klokli rogui, wala para airport mayam. Takot kasi sa procedure airport, tarang procedure kami.
Selwuk ti inspecta ngigil sa procedure Bureau of Fisheries. Ang tumlon mo inspector guler even though tawasa nga rin onral le tangari niya romarta rapruk lama oli mabalo la lang malo to da blur belam tumlo stat talwasing kadama inspector sumong guler ang grill inspectoring sumun dia kal guler se dia kagim inspectoring lan dia kangal alam inspecta ko klokira our passengers mong sige dia ko in the future we might be changing the process but process malmol al time how it has been.
Minister Victoria, the verification. Sorry. I could be wrong. Hindi kallalpas na naman sa ethanol to da ang idil seafood na blue bello.
Allah ngari al time di ban export any reef organism.
Any
This
reef?
umong pelagic species ang ngigara krill almol lang sabel.
Kaya ito tang mlan nga la alwasing na modal sa ethanol to da lol durok la kali arang ngaliket ang ngikal maray kel bello.
Sabel ngigil nding katsuo ma
Hindi ka
skipja
reef.
ma
Not
yellowfin
reef
ma
fishes. Okay.
gidila kalwa amang ma andu
Ramrum mga rangya.
ya ma berde ma karamlal ma igadal sabel.
Okay. So that's probably jadi follow-up question sa ligara sa to human trafficking Vice President patersel direct report blura marigela sing malmi tuta ay kaluud ma punishment tergidel gidela tergel adal mudemara human trafficking malubang related type of crimes aklam sagay nagigidal guys nyam lamot na to adjustment tergi yang wal ko maklo a discretion ra kortal sa in one of the cases el dil 6 months adal nga kalpus pay fine and then that's it ngara follow up sel di kale question rang kale kambes ngara ko process al malubang uldas wal mo makatmok lay kay kita dire ko say ngora wal sal maklo KCL US Department of State dictate to say what Palau should be doing lakalwi the Philippines at tier 2 kita ngara tier 2 watch list again ngara ko alda da miulo bangkela blura mrigel say
malmasa pakumo or sige dal alda do lobang kela balura mrigen man sige sel meeting al preference ringil gim limit nga kamang kale Minister Matul, Minister Aitaro, matrigal nga al the working group, Attorney General, al milangat ado lobang kela Ambassador Hennessy Island, dal kora wagim kora mo ngila clothing nga mamal wasay makarabol si edal improve tegi dal standing argit. Mga discussions ay malat kalwa si tegi dal submission recently sira Monday malmo address ay like it. So malmasal Attorney General lang nga get proposed amendments al morala almo madurok kalmo mera presidente ko nga mo oduro clean moray kagi din olbira kalulaw. One of the recommended change rala awase bola ka ngirel impose jail sentence. Ang kagi dale judge ra al sila igal case hindi ka dil fine impose a jail sentence. Di tegi da dira kaltara ko related issue. Tel jailer gid currently adi kalsa al ilmal house or trial dom kadong artirik mulwa say white collar criminals blue oil ko digel crimes of immediate injury merang adal harm to oneself or ang mora a community. Mungkora igel violent crimes sa kor ore adrol tortira al seltial kor jail. Magilu ay sa report rigido lo say Mr. President tercera teme la sora almle happen ra 2021 in April. Amla o tia commitment ringil mo o finisher cell facility cell jail rigidal for humanitarian purposes and mos el complete ringi. So once el bol ngil segidal facility gida mos bedrol siswar adal ra al cell segidal galbus le as you're aware I'm learning about twice Pala Supreme Court has said that was a the current jail facility gida di meet international standards. Magigida galuriol dong at mokal girel say gida. Did I cover all your concerns? I'll get el sel additional. But thank you ang gagida Chief of Staff Office Vice President email legal ligagi dele tia report tele ko kami ang pala media council RLA. Thank you so much.
Last question, well, not last, maybe I'll have other questions later. Mr. President, ngayon sel BSL alde ka blame sign ngayon sel RPPL 11-16 or 17, one of those two. Sel mo create Palau National Hospital Authority or Palau National Hospital Authority. Ngayon sel ko kora concern and lalo raise sa ringil ba say constitution kita require lubang mandate lo sa guru lagi del subsidized malubang free moral other below hindi selgo bokte katay del besala saying make sure la sa hospital run el sufficiently real cost recovery mangara ko ra sa ML ko ra o tell the swimel gidel say and how do they work together.
Ako meron sa selda sa hospital cost recovery. Ada kan kita to. Lengi ada nang litel true cost operation. Sa dia kal stobor government rigid el subsidize sa cost recovery. Hindi help rigid tara sa el contribute to the money government. So el alta megid ortobor 10 million and run igal operations sa hospital. Umara sa dia kal stoboring. Hindi kada mo operating efficiently, provide better service, that's the goal. And subsidize ni di ka salung example la PPUC. El alta me gida subsidize ra la dengi. Gida mo malas mo masada la yegi de bay klo adungul masa au guru. That's well, what's mandated in the constitution by PUC the constitution. So I think they can work hand in hand.
Only one last question regarding that. What would make that more efficient? The Tanganyabor, the Telcurrenta system, which is answer directly to you, the current system.
Kita was management organization. Runs a little more efficiently if there's incentives, there's better ways to improve our system, holding people more accountable. Government system sometimes is not so effective in that regards. So promote idea maybe later on, for example, a doctor should be paid on a fee basis. You see customers, patients, you pay them, and there's nothing wrong with us subsidizing that, but there needs to be a way I'll help it. That's the model most developed countries follow. They operate on that system. So I think we need to look at those models, but still provide the service in the most efficient and effective way possible. Kita sel ultimate sel mal mokte garigit asing makara mo ngila care and moral okya. Tada makara mo respondel mre. Da katso na artia blame Ministry of Finance. Di apart and we all work together as a team, but sometimes hindi ka slow down our process al sung ngarialo important telgar los peri. Hindi slow down our process ade do bodo sigir appropriation and take caring. They need to have the flexibility lo say Agios pa analysis machine lang. We don't need to pass a special resolution and motor finance and motor sell procurement process. We need them. Minister, administrator, you have a board, do it. So, ako maralo kasi sell goal lagi to kasi life for other important. We want to provide the best service and marab. Through this process, hopefully say they'll improve. So,
Mr.
no,
President, if I may also chime in, Rakuk,
so
from the ministry side, kadam la start improve Aigal Community Health Center, and hopefully in the next coming years, since sa Elmoniar wala pa mga rakel, mga tmok lay gay primary and preventive care services. So direct kung dasam lemok tertial albila ra Senate tawal decentralized sa gidil guk tokoera prevention ma primary care man sa edalo mer ringin mo ra ablu. So instead ra adan nga ra ababalaw o makalan mel di mera opidil me malara Tylenol. And sa PL nga ra gay kot medel community health center may gay gidil basic services hindi kalbel pero hospital. Sa gida direct ko ra long term lo singe lo sa makarada dolisi ra kuk toko ra health protection ma health promotion ra kel ka carousel state mong mobayot gida decentralized sa gidil el services ngwa a service more other blue instead ra di ngatiang e mangira ra adan men so sa gida direct ko mo impact at gidil set up maliak ra hospital ra Ministry of Health mo sa other focus ra health policy ma a public health.
Vice President.
Kaming akmla remember sel partra question kalya Philippines. Okay, so sige dal ratial anti-human trafficking report. Mang ngila rating at term sa ko ka rerela US State Department. But this is why ang gira dal comply. Ang up to adrabula sa mga rabal kul mata letyang omes rabla ka dal letan more workers sergit especially tigel employers sa ko fall under a minister mato sila ka dungil harara adra hu riping al tira oriol lobengir naka it's it's like slavery tiat osisum sige dal anti slavery ma President Amal Masam Narula proclamation or either el almandra February ang gira dal el oriol gira awareness sa sige. So, aldom ang gida dal kargik, ledia kadrep tal mora tier 3. Aldom dal gida dal web. Ay gel nges wal dollar, for example, la ADB. Amrigel amalusok mortilo sila kamultob dalonan morbela tier la magkita rating at tier tel anti-human trafficking. Model si Edrola bakar dari gida lo rurte malaklalo Amazon. Leng mga adu mal masisi amrigel mamad adu mora abang galwa sila kamo that's the penalty. Sige dia atomalit. Lakam kaya til amal run financial transactions erti. Maldumang malgira dal blakar ngudul waya do mo katya reporter gid mal sabi edal malumol malagida depender tel marigel ma US dollars al those pe mangira dal mga tmok lay gid yel. At talang tingila labor trafficking al gira dal mo korgik al make sure hindi kal happen rabel wada ma sex trafficking. So lang.
Maldi quick question mora ministers matul. Say the loss of income program. Di lo aseng girela adal bot ba pasit COVID test yai. Tirigel guk dimnal COVID positive nding temle quarantine because ang temle close contact. Tirigel ndakal eligible tel program.
Tirigel gidam eligible but tirigel parents al school affected aklang arakaw lim close sa school gire man ngaraplim. Mang ako ngit mamem the three segel situation rakaw kas kum ko qualify malaranges wag yung usukaw.
Sulang.
Hindi. Ang mo da question nga do kami sa Mr. Talam sa ang artelo ng gidra to ma Bernadette hindi ada marang asulul media blo lo bangede kabe sa di wana last comment na madina se Tabelora last week amna front page siya singa na maraklay. Mal Dagim kayo ureng sa maki iso kalo ay sila se selva bilinga oblem printerin dice 1 week old. Sera January 20 era rugul bela milu silmera hid. Ma as a response nga kamal ko termula rugul bela mang no ya tele dra next day. Ligede be meeting ligede amlani circle meeting ligede amayo undi kasi ang sorry atu ko bet sel meeting di tier mar expert sa mga okle ya do e o gera rugul question. Masigi del sil sera Friday January 21, igim lot mag, oban triril, medererul sigang. Maiger rogul karira rogul belaw mamle concern tir, amle address tersel meeting. Mang akmaday lo asing ungil kata print babilinga rogul belaw di ababiral amler office president, ma president amle respond di will on print. Di nga ungil abol rung la story ma next time edim mo ay sergid lo asing mo print and we can always share with you. Diri kal tel namre kal Friday mo tiri kal nari ate ele del ukmitra governors rogul. Diri kal mestri ate ala matmitra trigal experts lagi da agar rogul do ngatmak lagi la Ministry of Health matial addressing a COVID amra lultuir are experts na maskida otherwise. Sometimes we don't all agree. Hindi sel do ni tini ase meda dak lo atia awil lomru mura other belaw. Mela ka bangara mo do ase ngel ngal ka COVID ngirel ase ngirel male ate ngirel mo dak lo udigel. Lagi kita na mo ngirel change na mo dak ngirel wa ise ul daswet. Ngabulang lagi dan no COVID ngadiri kal ngirel omur ngirel ngaria let's help them. So ako na yung ase kita sila ngaria wild dol COVID ministereng so di group singing ngal it's here. We have to learn to live with it. We have to be tolerant and we have to work together to get through this. So yung nasa kal share sa igid sulang ambes. Oh, madalo ngari kam nari kadim. Oh, malwaise kita abek el time do press conference and direct sa mo acknowledge trigel el lower public servant no lower abek el sales lo no se igid ra ureret. Agumeseng Maria team el border tir el alsils. Ngaria Lelen Luis, ngara Ministry of Justice Vice President. Happy birthday. Rosella Toichi, ngara Ministry of Education. Madiregal Oloa al Dame, ngara Mafe. Madiregal Fabian yan, ngara MOF. Ma Aikman Byron, ngara MPII. O Mr. Minister, wish them a happy birthday. Dora nga ang wilsil sentir tialuk tugobet sel sentir ma tiga rogul el tira mashur ablur bera rapek kalsils. Regal na mobregal el erul sande emle birthday ti let's wish them a happy birthday. Egida almuter mo kaswes 2 weeks from now. Oman misulang. Adios el olmol mo mga tanga terbelaw. Other belaw rogul oman misulang.
Otherwise, press conference ida di mertegi de Marong. So I'll invite Ramil Mebengadra February 16, 2 weeks from now. Edrekal still press conference LLC sa FM Lawrence ra replay ngi lo yo radio ra 87.9 go Paradise FM ngal belaw. Ra 6 o'clock ra lapse ngi. Edrekal instantly ga access ngi na Facebook page ra EPFM ma office ra president. Edrekal ani atelen mamra el baby ra TV belaw. Mak timektegi de malurang suliar beklaaf. Orang wilchid sila ko kami o idea olgong mura bisrangal belaw. Mesti tinggal sempre mura